Welcome to the Recruiter Startup Podcast. I'm joined today by top biller, Steve Guest. How are you today, sir?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well, all good.
Apologies, I haven't got to read your book yet. I had time set aside. I had my feet up in America. Life was good. I had 50 interviews happening. I was thinking I was going to move there and buy a nice house and do all of that. And now I'm back in the UK. I'm fighting for my life. Trying to keep things going.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? But I'm going to ask a few questions about it because I just checked out on Amazon. It's got great reviews. You seem to be getting speaking to the right people, and everybody seems to be really positive about it. So congrats on that. But firstly, how is the lockdown treating you?
It's a bit indifferent, if I'm honest. I think both my wife and I work for the same recruitment business, which we set up going back some years now. We've got two kids, 3-year-old and a 7-year-old, and decided to take on an 8-week-old puppy at the start of lockdown, which at the time we thought would be a welcome distraction. And now I'm just thinking it's added to the chaos and mayhem. And he's almost like having a third child.
Well, if we get locked down completely and you have a dog, that'll give you an excuse to actually leave the house. So
true, very true.
It may become a strategic masterstroke.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're very much in the same boat. So 2 kids under 3, dog, working in the business together. She took the morning shift, so with work. So she was up here. She was ferociously sending emails and dealing with sweeping up all my mistakes and trying to coach her team and get things happening. And I'm downstairs, supposed to be watching the kids. I was sitting in the sunshine. I was talking to my buddy in Ireland. I was kind of relaxed. Sun was shining. I was bragging about how the South Coast is so much better than Ireland for weather. And I turned around and my oldest son was covered in chocolate. He was naked, covered in chocolate from head to toe. Balls and all. I was like, what happened? Daddy, Easter Daddy.
The fun never ends.
So he managed to like move a chair over, get up, open it, like get into a cupboard. And then him and my 2-year-old managed to both pry this open. Needless to say, Charlotte wasn't too impressed, but you can't get too thick in these times because there's no escape.
You're creating memories. That's what it's about, isn't it?
Oh, man. Give us a bit of a breakdown into your recruitment background.
Okay, so I've recruited for about 14 years. My background, I'm a strategic commodity buyer, qualified buyer. I was dealing with multi-million pound contracts and frameworks. My wife was a temp recruitment consultant for Hayes at the time. I saw how well she was doing, and that was my motivator really to get into recruitment. Went across to Hayes Purchasing Supply. Thought that was the natural shift. First interview went really well. Asked me to play 5-a-side football after my second interview. So I thought, nailed this, yeah, definitely there. Went for my second interview and I was told no, wasn't the confident, salesy, brash person they were perhaps looking for. I was too reserved, too quiet, too considered, wouldn't fit the profile. So I actually left the interview absolutely gutted, to be honest, because I thought the role was mine.
Did Hayes make you stand up in a group of people and say, I want to join Hayes because they're the greatest company in the world. I want to be an expert.
That was when I crossed the road.
Australia. I was sitting there in a room full of other people who were hoping to get a visa, absolutely bullshitting it, trying to get a recruitment gig.
Really? Well, I left the interview, went onto the outside, and across the street you've got Hayes Construction and Property. Went over there and said, "Take me on." you hire me and I'll prove them wrong every day that I'm here. And that was really my motivator. And then I was the quickest trainee to get promoted, quickest consultant to get promoted. I believe I still hold the regional records at Hayes for perm billings in a month and the perm billings over 12 months. I worked there for a couple of years, and then I got headhunted to open a new region, new brand, new business for a company called Fast Track Management Services. 2008, start of a recession.
Yeah.
Construction being the hardest hit industry. I thought it was a great idea. So I moved, set and opened the office. Probably the first 12, 18 months were the toughest I probably had in recruitment, not counting today's current climate in that. But grew that region. I opened their Manchester region in 2015. Across the two offices, I managed up to 19 staff, mentored and trained them. Regional turnover for the two regions was about 7 million. Trained and mentored some top performers. I was included in that at certain parts, but obviously as the management grows, you tend to bill less and mentor more. And then come September of last year, I decided to go a different path and work predominantly for myself and with my wife, as we wanted to go down perhaps a different route to where Fast Track were headed. And that's brought us to here, really. As you mentioned, the book was very much about me talking about my journey from...
Life of a Recruiter, available on Amazon.
Half price today as well.
Half price today as well.
I wrote the book to basically discuss how actually you can be a top performing recruitment consultant and not have the brash salesy part. If you're considered and actually you go out and deliver on what you say you're going to deliver on, you could be equally, if not better, than some of the consultants out there that are the loudest in the room and the ones that shout and bawl walking up and down the office. But also the book actually gave me a different kind of personal brand. I became the consultant that wrote the book. And I was getting clients and candidates contact me to talk about the book, which could then follow on from me saying, what do you need? Or are you looking for a new role?
Yeah. I was expecting you to turn up here today like Brad Shackleton. I thought, I'm going to have a whirlwind to contend with here today.
Yeah, no, that's not me. That's not me. I've sat in front of directors and I've said I will be the quietest one in the room, but when I've got something to say, it'll be considered and logical and thought out. Sometimes it might take me 2 days to come back to you, but it will be a reasoned argument or reason for coming back to you. Yeah. And I've always been that way.
So your career obviously went from strength to strength to strength to strength. Why didn't you set up your own business earlier?
I think I was following a path, and the consultants that I was mentoring and training that worked with Fast Track, they were all very much the type of individual that I would always want to work with. They were calm, considered, they knew their markets, they were honest, ethical, hardworking, and service delivery was paramount in everything that they did. So in many ways, it was there. It just wasn't mine. And I think
tap into their vision and how they do things. Was that and just
complete? I mean, they, if anything, they worked to my vision.
Yeah,
because I advised how I wanted them to be. I advised how they should be treating their clients and candidates to actually improve the service, improve their billings, and actually get known for being a better consultant. They become that key person in their market that actually client and candidates want to work with and want to be speaking to, even if it's just about market knowledge and not necessarily about sales or placements. So I was surrounded by the people I really wanted to work with. And if I was going to go and set up an office that was mine, I would be taking Fast Track staff because they were all of a level where I wouldn't want to have worked with anyone else. And I was really proud of where the office had got to. I started off as a direct employee with Fast Track when I first moved. I actually went self-employed in 2011 because I wanted the ability to go off and do the entrepreneurial stuff in the background.
And to be able to pay yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously benefits for it. There's downsides to it as well, but it allowed me to be a little bit more creative than perhaps when you're working for a big business. Fast Track was owned by a capital investment company, a corporate PLC, and there's various things that you have to do to toe the line when you're in that sort of infrastructure, which is great and it's fine, but it perhaps isn't me because I'm not always the yes man, and I like to challenge.
Has this been a bit of a voyage of self-discovery for you, writing a book and taking a different direction? Massively. I think I do a lot of networking and a lot of outside coaching and mentoring where I surround myself with people that have made very big successes of themselves. And I'm 95% sure that all of them have a book. And that was the initial motivator. You sit there and think, well, I can do that. Writing a book is difficult and it's time consuming. I was getting up at 5 o'clock every day to get to the office for 5:30. I'd write for an hour before the consultants turned up for work. And I did that for about 8 months. Where's the book going to lead you?
Pardon?
What's the book going to lead to?
If I'm honest, the initial reason for the book was it almost becomes the business card. So it was never a profit-making thing to do. It just gives you an extra element to actually the rest of the market. There's very few consultants that have wrote a book. There are some very good recruitment books out there, but there's not many.
There's not many for people who are still hands-on.
No, not at all. So it gave me a platform and it's elevated me into something that actually has helped me in this current day pivot my ability to help and add value. So I recruit for permanent construction individuals. That market at the moment, there is nothing happening because most of the sites are stood still. And certainly the sites where they've got work, they can utilise their current staff. They don't need to add permanent people. So what I've found is the book and the feedback I've had from the book has been so well received that actually consultants have found new inner confidence, new ways of working. They like the fact that I'm very structured and process procedure. I don't know whether you can vouch for this, but a lot of salespeople aren't. Salespeople are very good talkers, but don't generally back it up with the administrative duties or actually just having a set plan. So by that way, I've actually helped. I've spoken to consultants over the phone that I've never met, I've never worked with, that I've said, give me a call and I'll talk you through how I work. I've sent out my day, week and month planners to help support that, which have given them some guidance at home to be able to sit there and think, okay, what's my structure for today? I've sent out recommended reading lists to consultants that I feel is adding value when people are stuck at home thinking, well, what do I do now? Where do I go? What's my next point of call? So in many ways, the book has perhaps pushed me down a line where I can actually add value while my recruitment market is perhaps dwindling a little bit.
Have you decided which fork in the road you're going to go? Are you going to go there, maybe build out the construction piece on your own? Are you going to get down the coaching, mentoring side of things to recruitment founders? Are you going to be the guy that comes in and does their training sessions for consultants?
I'm not sure, if I'm honest, which avenues the way I go, but it could be an element.
The door's open for you.
Yeah, I've had agencies contact me to ask me to go and visit their offices and sit with their consultants for 2 or 3 days. So the options are definitely there. And I know I can add value and improve consultants' performance and billings. I know I can do that. I've also managed and recruited the same market for 14 years. So my clients know if I get a good candidate and I call them and say, you need to see this person, they'll see them regardless of CV or anything else, because they know I know my market well enough. And I don't sell in bad people or people with the reputations.
Your market's dead now. A lot of people says, what do we do? How do we solve it?
I think you've got to sit there and think logically, okay, where is the market or where is the business? Which is tough in itself, because if you sit there and think, okay, well, logistics is busy, delivery drivers and all of those sorts of areas, and that's so far removed from what you've done, you're not going to go in there and add value against the agencies that do that day in, day out. So you've got to sit there and think, okay, well, is there any part of my market that I can go after? When I opened Fast Track in 2008, the perm construction market was pretty dead then, and there weren't many live opportunities to work on. So what I tended to do was look more perhaps back office staff. So it would be support services, it would be admin, HR, PA type roles. So still staying within contractors, but actually you could go slightly further afield. So I'd perhaps contact local businesses that I knew and were in my local area, or you work via referrals, perhaps more. So through your perhaps personal network, people that know you and know that you're good at what you do, you can go out and find the support staff for businesses that are perhaps struggling. The businesses that are doing well in this current market will need some back office support, because they might be selling more than they've ever sold before, because there is a definite need. You've almost got to think of that supply chain, think, okay, well, where can I go along that to add the value?
Like an Amazon right now there.
Exactly. There's no defined answer to it.
No.
I think as individuals or as agencies, you've got to sit there and think, okay, this is our speciality. We can do, I don't know, fast-paced temp business where it's a body on site or a body in a factory on a Monday. Where are the busier factories? Where do we go to try and supplement that? Or actually, we're a perm agency, we've never done temp. Where are we going to be able to find perm business?
How long until we're out of this? And will the recruitment industry have been invariably changed forever because of it?
I don't know. I think if I think back to, I keep comparing it to 2008 because it was similar in terms of the market I was dealing with. I think at one point there was 17 recruitment agencies going out of business every week back in 2008. It's a stat that I seem to remember. And you have the questions then, will recruitment ever return? Will it be just the agencies that were very good at what they do? Are they going to be the only ones that survive? I think recruitment will bounce back. Yes, there will be some changes. I think there's been a hell of a lot of consultants that have been made redundant and very quickly, even before the lockdown was made. And I think that taints the sector with a really bad brush and will probably put off a lot of people. Recruitment's difficult anyway because you're dealing with rejection Monday to Friday consistently and constantly. To then have perhaps agencies that don't back you either, it sends out that message out there that actually you can flog your guts finding placements and grafting, but actually when the market dips a little bit, we'll just get rid of you anyway. So I think in many ways we haven't done ourselves any favours.
What do you do to keep a positive mindset?
For me, I read a lot. I read a lot about mindset, wealth, knowledge, finances. I read a lot of autobiographies, and it's the normal sorts of people that you'd expect, the Darren Hardys, Gary V's, Tony Robbins. I'm mixed with very positive people. My wife and I, we've been together 20 years this year. She's definitely the spontaneous one, and I'm the spreadsheet savvy OCD, process procedure. Let's put it in the bank and save it or invest it. And she's like, no, let's spend it. Let's go on a nice holiday. And I think between the two of us, we keep ourselves on our toes and we give ourselves a kick up the ass when we need it. But it is definitely surrounding yourself the right people, making sure you exercise, making sure you're doing the right things to keep yourself mentally sane.
And within your book, what type of stuff will we get from it if we read it?
The book, the feedback I've been getting from everyone that's read it, is it's easy to read. It's obviously wrote on a level where people can buy into me as an individual and the way that I recruit. It talks about mindset. It talks about management of rejection. It talks about how you're going to set up your day.
How do you manage rejection?
For me, rejection, certainly at the start of your recruitment career, is far bigger than it ever is now. I'm 14 years on, but I still get rejected now. I still cold call. I still have people not turn up for the job they've accepted, clients pulling offers and this, that, and the other. It doesn't go away. But for me, if I lose a big fee or something falls out or it doesn't happen, I learned early on, if you scrape it off your whiteboard the moment it's happened and it's gone, that's one of the best things you can do. If you leave it up there and you keep looking at it thinking, think of the commission on that fee, or this is what could have happened, this is where we could have been going if that fee had landed, you almost beat yourself up for it. Sometimes I just walk around the block.
I don't celebrate anything.
I
don't celebrate anything.
Well, you do become a little bit numb to it.
Yeah,
I find that you become the ever skeptic, don't you? And you almost have trust issues with every single person you speak to because you're trying to second guess their motive and are they being honest or genuine.
In rec to rec, it's horrendous, especially.
I couldn't do rec to rec. I mean, I've worked with many very good rec to recs over the years, but dealing with consultants to sell them into a consultant role, oh my days.
Yeah, a large part of ours is the international piece, or we'll take on something that's left of centre or all. Yeah. So it is destination recruitment as much as it has been job centric. So, so it's with more and more, we're taking on more in London. If something's a really interesting project, or if it's a scalable project that we can attach ourselves onto and then put loads of people in over a period of time, then that's where it's at. But this is the first time I found myself working jobs, shall we say? Normally it's like we sign up clients. I'm not really too fussed if it's retained, and we'll bring the candidate will lead the journey really. Now that's flipped on its head. It's whoever can pay that engagement fee gets all our attention, all our good people.
It's so true though, isn't it? Construction market's been candidate led forever and a day. And I think when we start getting back to work and getting back to normality, I think the amount of people that potentially can be available because businesses haven't survived will turn the market on its head. And from a recruitment perspective, there might not be a recruitment market for some time because it will be word of mouth referrals and people helping each other out.
So I don't agree. I think so. Like everybody's going to go back to work in June, July, broke. They're all going to take jobs that they don't want, just whatever it is, and then everybody is going to want a new job and to be headhunted in September, and we're going to have.
That's it. Yeah.
What's that?
I prefer your way of looking at it.
Listen, if you're not optimistic on this, you go home because, but if you think about it logically, you lay off 50 people, they're all sitting on the bench. They're going to be. They might be furloughed, but they're going to be covering their ass. They're going to be wanting to speak to people. You're going to be able to put them into places and hold the ownership for 12 months. You're going to be able to, they're going to take jobs that they don't want. You'll be able to place them into somewhere else. I don't mean placing them twice, but there's
I know what you mean. Yeah.
There's an avenue for doing business. It's just about choosing the right business and narrowing it down and making sure people are buyer ready. And because a lot of people are saying, I'll look at CVs. I don't care. I don't care if you look at CVs. Will you hire somebody? Will you pay my bills between now and July? Because if you can't, we talk in July, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've never been under this much pressure financially.
No. I don't think anybody has.
Yeah.
Because unless you can make income from online or changing your market that you've done for so long, which is definitely where I am.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to rise above it and find other avenues. Some days I wake up and I'm really excited and genuinely motivated to make it happen, because it becomes an extra revenue stream. It's an extra string to your bow. You're gaining new skills, all of that sort of stuff. And then some days I wake up and it petrifies me.
Yeah. I'm launching tech in July. So
Okay.
that's it. It's all about making that happen and copying the model that we have, which is media centric and sourcing centric on the back end. Media to attract business and to engage with we do with the podcast and the likes, speaking events and that, and then our remote team based in Serbia and Romania who do a large part of our heavy lifting.
Okay.
And with the principal in the middle, and we're going to replicate that in technology. We've been building this model for a long time. Problem with rec to rec is the average fee deal is 3 times lower than what I used to do as an IT recruiter. So if we can get that in another discipline and work it the way we've worked it, I'm pretty confident. But now it's how do you get the runway to make it happen, to get them profitable, to like what was okay, let's cruise for 6 months and it'll all be okay. It's now like back to the wall.
Massively.
And
as they say, I mean, this sort of market makes people, doesn't it? It makes the millionaires, it makes the entrepreneurs, it makes new businesses. And that's the exciting bit. That's the bit that I kind of cling to and think you just got to keep going.
Yeah, because small businesses will turn into the next big business in coming out of this. Those who have scaled too quickly based on leveraged debt and have massive offices and overheads and were built for an exit, or like it was all set in stone, and all they had to do was keep trucking along, and all of a sudden 4 months revenue's gone, and the next 3 months is going to be lower. How do they survive? Where do other people go? None of us have ever been in this, but I think if you've got the experience, it's a good time to be at it.
I say you got the experience and you keep motivated and you keep dedicated to the cause.
Yeah,
I'm confident that you get there.
I was talking to my team yesterday and I said, look, I know to date I've trained you to be a facilitator and to be an account manager and to be not really somebody that influences things in terms of like the sales side. And I said, look, I hope you'll take this for a lesson that we were probably like, that's great in good times, but we need everybody to always be a bit more commercial moving forward, because now we're at a point where if you're not a revenue generator, you're a cost. And if that's just me in a small business with low overheads and an established name, if you're a big business with massive costs and a low PDA and you have all these people who are just sourcers, who are like all the admin team, like the extra accountant in there, there's so much extra cost that these businesses are running on. I think that's changed forever.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will revert very much back to 360 recruiters as it was when I started, where you do everything. I wanted to do that because I wanted the control and the accountability. But I think agencies have changed very much, where they have people to support people. And actually, you just need to put a little bit more emphasis on the consultant.
Yeah,
it's
definitely an old debate. And the 360 piece does come down to control. And it is suited to that principal lone wolf recruiter that's been doing it for a long time. But if you're in a candidate-led market, there's no point in overpaying somebody to be a 360 when you could get more people on that side. And if you're in contract, sometimes it's better to sign up a key account and get a pool of people. So horses for courses. You know?
The top performing temp consultants at Fast Track all had resources, and they needed them to be able to manage the volume.
Yeah. And have you finished up at Fast Track now?
Yeah, so I left Fast Track back in September. Well, I finished working with them September. And if I'm honest, I've loved every minute. I've loved the ability to go off and look at other avenues to add to doing the normal day-to-day recruitment.
And given that you've got the skill set to build teams, to scale offices, you know VCs, you've access to that. Is it part of you not like, do you know what, I'm gonna is part of you not thinking maybe I'll go do the next Fast Track thing for myself?
Yeah,
come out of the traps.
It's been a thought process. I think I had two elements of thought. I got lots of job offers at the moment. People saw that I wasn't associated with Fast Track anymore. I had a lot of agencies contact me to say, we're looking at setting up a Midlands office. Would you come and do it for us? And I turned them all down because, firstly, I wanted 6 months to myself. I think when you're managing and looking after numbers of consultants, you become the agony aunt, you become the motivator, you become the person that deals with the stresses for a lot of people. And I think that takes its toll. My general response was, I want 6 months for myself. I'll just recruit on my own. I'll go and look after my clients and candidates, go back to my roots and enjoy doing what I do. And then if an opportunity arises where I look to build something new, create something for myself, it's definitely there. I know I can do it. It's having the 100% commitment that it takes.
Yeah,
and
one
of the biggest or most difficult things I've perhaps over the 11 years was actually taking on good consultants. And the ones that I took on and remained had worked with me for 5 years plus, and they were excellent. But you'd have a few fall by the wayside along the way that were excellent in interview, definitely gift of the gab and the perfect salesperson.
Yeah.
But actually, they perhaps didn't have the same ethics or the same beliefs that you wanted. Some feedback that I received over the years was that I was always a bit too nice, and I always believed someone can get there, someone that would achieve their targets, and I would set everything in place to allow them or enable them to do it. But perhaps I was too forgiving at times, whereas actually I should have just said, you're never going to cut this, probably time for you to go. But I would always probably believe more than they would sometimes that they could achieve the targets. And that was
you want to take some data as much as possible, don't you?
That's it. So yeah, it's definitely an option. I think at the moment I'm enjoying the work-life balance, kind of. I could do with my office back.
Yeah, I bet you could. Okay, Steve, really great chatting to you, getting to know you. People can reach out to you on LinkedIn, Steve Guest. Yeah. Do you have an email address or anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, steve@sguest.co.uk.
Okay, remind us again where the book is, where it's available.
The top biller is actually, I think it's 7,000 bookstores worldwide. It's sold in 24 countries, I think is the current count. But you get it on Amazon, Waterstones, Book Depository, anywhere you look, really.
Good for you, man. Well done.
Thank you.
Yourself out there and having a go for it. Fair play to you. And wish you and your family the best during this time.
Thank you. Really good to chat to you.